So, welcome everyone to the first of our cookery series, Beyond Chulent, Jewish cultural cooking from across the Jewish world. We're doing this in conjunction with the Gifnik Shul Cookery Club. So I see a lot of Gifnik Shul Cookery Club regulars who have come to join us again. So that's really exciting that we have everyone, as well as lots of members from Newton Mearns Shul, and also lots of people from elsewhere. We have people from Manchester, from Canada, from Leeds, from London. So it's very exciting. Anywhere else? Anywhere else? Very exciting that we have a lot of different people from all across different places. And today we're going to travel virtually to Israel, where we're going to hear all about Sarah's story of her family and her family culture. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming, for joining us. And of course, thank you to Gifnik Shul, Newton Mearns Shul, and UJIA. And thank you to Sarah, because she's going to share some really exciting information, exciting stories and recipes with us. So very exciting. One quick Zoom note before we start. So now you should be able to see a whole bunch of small faces on the screen. If you want to see Sarah bigger, so that you can see really what she's cooking and what she's doing, if you go to the top right-hand side on your computer and click View, and then click Speaker, then you should see who's speaking, and you should be able to see Sarah when she's speaking nice and big so that you can see. But if not, you can also look at everybody's faces. So let us get going. Hi, Sarah. How's it going?
Hello, Kolto. Oh, sorry, I was speaking in Hebrew. Everything is okay. How are you?
Good, thanks. You're in Manchester?
It's a month. I arrived before a month, so it's quite nice. After 14 of quarantine, lockdown, but I'm happy to be here.
Good. Can you tell us, for people who maybe don't know, what you're doing in Manchester, why you've come to Manchester, and what your job is there?
Basically, I'm the UJIA Shlicha, community Shlicha, which means that I work with the community, with school around Manchester. I'm coming from the Jewish agency. I decided to come here because I really love to explore other culture, other Jewish cultures around the world. It's a big opportunity to be here, and I'm very lucky to be here, actually. And it's just the beginning, so I'm like, I'm a little bit nervous, but it will be and excited. But yeah, I'm willing to work and to have a wonderful time in Manchester.
Amazing. So today you're going to be cooking for us some special Ethiopian Jewish cuisine. So can you tell us a bit about what we're going to be cooking today?
Okay, so we're going to cook the nichwat, which it means basically a stew, potato stew. I already make the dabo. It's on the stove, so I will show the final result after. For me to making the dabo, I really like to make the dabo. I learned to cook it very very early age. It's really special because we made it for Shabbat. It's like the challah. We made it for Shabbat and some for holidays. And the dinich what I like to cook it because it's very easy recipe and you don't really need much. Just onion, potato, cabbage, and carrots. So it's really easy thing to do, and I hope that you can cook it and maybe just share picture with us. And if you need any help, you can always call or email me, and I will be happy to give you any advice.
Amazing. So for those of you who don't know, or maybe you haven't received, the cookbook that I sent out either this morning or this afternoon has all of the recipes that Sarah is going to be showing us, as well as the recipes for the next 2 sessions. So you can follow along. You should have gotten it by email, but if you haven't, you can email me or you can write in the chat. And we'll get that sent to you so you can make the recipes at home. And the cookbook also has stories, really interesting stories relating to all of the foods. So I really suggest having a look at that. So tell us a little bit about these foods and like when you would eat them. So the dabo is the bread, right?
The dabo is the bread. So we basically eat it every Saturday. And every time we have a holiday, like Chag HaSigd or on Memorial Days, on weddings. So it's just like an offer to God. So like we do with the challah, we offer the challah to God. This is the same thing that we do. And the dinichwot, it's just a daily dish, but my mom used to cook it always when it's around Tisha B'Av, when it's not allowed to eat meat. So we just cook it very, very easy, 35 minutes, and you have a wonderful dish. I used to eat it with pita or the dabo, the bread, or just with rice. It's really nice to eat it with rice, or eat injera. But we don't really have here injera yet. So yeah, this is when we eat it.
Okay, so you said this dabo bread, we eat it on Sigd. Can you tell us a little bit about Sigd? For people who don't know, Sigd happened just Monday, so very
Yes,
fun.
it was on Monday. It was very weird not to be in Israel and celebrate, but there is a COVID all over the world, so there is not a big festival this year. Sigd is basically a holiday that we celebrate in Ethiopia, and now we celebrate in Israel too, 50 days after Yom Kippur. It comes on the 29th of the second month of the Jewish calendar, Cheshvan. It's a day of praying and day of fast, day that we renew the covenant between God and the Torah and God and the people. They took the idea from the book of Nehemiah, which Nehemiah gathered all the people around and start to lecture about the Torah and Kiyum Mitzvot back in the days when after Babylon exile. So we celebrated in Ethiopia, and now we celebrate in Israel. Do you want me to continue how we celebrated in Ethiopia?
Yeah, please tell us.
So in Ethiopia, what happened that we will go to the center village, and then sometimes it takes a few days to go to the center village. So you will take you will go a few days before the Sigd. You reach to the center village. We prepare food for the next day because we fast in the Sigd day. We will wake up in the morning, take a shower, wearing a white clothes to be pure for God. And then what they used to have is the Kesim, which are their spiritual leader, will take the Orit, the Torah, and they will start to climb the mountain. It's symbolized for the mountain of Sinai, which basically we get the Torah. Then on the top of the summit, on the top of the mountain, the Kesim will pray and lecture the community about observe the Torah and pray for coming back to Jerusalem, to the promised land. And when they finish, they will come back to the village. They will cut the dabo, pray for the dabo, and then we'll start festival, like really eating and dancing. And I never been there. I never saw it how it was, but I know that in Israel it's a very, very special day for me. We go to Jerusalem, to the Western Wall, Kotel HaMaravi, and Armon HaNatzim neighborhood, and we pray there. It's really beautiful to see how our spiritual leader wearing the rope, colorful rope, and they have colorful umbrella, and to listen to the prayer. It's not in Amharic and it's not in Hebrew. The prayer is from an ancient language, which is called Gez. And then we don't have really the big feast, but because we do it at home, but we do cut the bread there, and they have a lot of youth activities, and it's just really happy day to see it. And it's become in 2008 national holiday. Yeah.
Amazing. So do you want to show us, we've heard all about the holiday of Sigd and how you celebrate it. Do you want to show us some of the ingredients so that we can start cooking our
So we can start cook, okay? So first we start to we put the olive oil, and we're gonna put the onion, just chopped onion. So we make it stir a little bit. You can ask me a question if you want during now.
So how, for some people who maybe didn't see, so if you didn't get the cookbook yet, check your email, because we've emailed it out to everyone who's registered. But if you don't have, you can also send your email to the list. But can you just tell, for people who maybe don't have the recipe in front of them, how many onions you're cutting?
I put one onion, 2-3 carrots. It depends on the size. 4 or 5 potatoes, and half a head of cabbage. It depends. You can use more. You can use less. It's one thing really beautiful about the Ethiopian food. When I called my mom to ask her give me the recipe, she was like, "There is no recipe. Like, you can use whatever you want. There is no amount how much you put. If you like it spicy, you add more black pepper, or just like chili. If you like it not spicy, you will not put the black pepper. It just depends on, like, everyone is his own flavor. But there is really no recipe. I have to like search and ask my sister, my mom, and then I come out with a recipe that I can use and share it with you and with the communities. So after we put the onion, we're gonna put the carrots. Okay, I just chop them on a bite size.
And there's water, like you're
Yeah,
boiling.
right now, no, it's only olive, onion, and the carrot, and then we're gonna add a couple of cup of water, so it can boil with the onion and the carrot. Just enough, and we can leave it for a few minutes, and then we add the other ingredients. And yeah.
Amazing. So you spoke a little bit about how traditionally the priest would do all of these different rituals. So what would your family be doing in Israel?
Right now in the Sigd.
Yeah, celebrating Sigs in Israel with your family.
Usually my mom and my sister and me, we go to Jerusalem. But now, because of the COVID, I know they stay home. So I'm probably thinking they fast. My mom fast and my father too. So I think they fast and they just like watch the pray. They had the pray on Zoom meeting of the Kessim. The Kessim went to Jerusalem and trying to with all this social distance. Sorry, with the social distance. So they pray and they channel it on YouTube and Facebook. So I think maybe they do that, and probably my mom cook food for after the fast and night before. And it's very special day for us. It's really about. It's not only about to be happy and joy, but right now it's just like it was a dream come true, because they prayed in Sigd every year to come to Jerusalem, and now they have the opportunity to be in Jerusalem, to be in this land. So I think this is why it's so important to us, the community of Beta Israel, to celebrate it. Yeah.
Of course. So your parents, you were born in Israel, but your parents came from Ethiopia. So can you tell us a little bit about that story, how that happened?
Yeah. So my parents heard that there is Aliyah to Israel from Sudan. So they start to walk to Sudan. They got to Sudan and they were there in the refugees camp. And after a few months, they heard the Sudan government decided she's not going to help anymore, because because the other country around the world found out, the Arab country found out that Sudan helping Israel to bring Jewish to Israel. So they shut the operation to, to bring Israel through Sudan. There was one operation in 1984 we call Operation Moses, which they really smuggled Jewish Ethiopian to Israel. So when they shut the operation, my family, my mom, she had back then 4 children, 3 brothers and 1 sister. They had to bring all the Jewish back to Ethiopia and to decide what to do with them. So they bring them back to Ethiopia. My father stayed in Sudan. My mom made Aliyah in 1991 in Operation Salomon without my father, because he stayed in Sudan. She didn't know what happened to him, if he's alive. She told me, like, the inside I know he's alive, but like I couldn't explain to people. So I started to look for him and start to ask people if they heard about him, if they saw him. She went to the Jewish agency office and started to, okay, listen, help me find my husband. And after 1 year, he came to Israel in 1992. And year after, I was born, first generation in Israel.
Wow, amazing. Wow, that's such a fascinating story. How did your parents know? So you were telling me before that the village they lived in Ethiopia, they didn't have electricity and they didn't have, like, they were living in like a mud hut. Like, how did they know when they were in that Ethiopian village that about Israel and about this operation? And how did they have, you said that they had this desire to really move to Jerusalem. Like, how did they know that?
I think maybe because they were Jewish, like it's in their pray. They know this is not their home. Ethiopia is not their home. Our home is in Israel. Jerusalem, Zion, this is their home. So they always pray for it. It's always been in our thoughts, like, to come back to Israel. It's a temporary situation that we hear, but someday we're going to be in Israel. And I think maybe one time they heard just like people start to talk about making move to Israel because they were not happy there in several years. They want to come to Israel, and then they heard about people coming from Israel to look for the Jewish Ethiopian tribe, like where are they? And then they decide there is nothing can stop us. We will go no matter what. They sell all they had and they just start to go. It wasn't easy. The journey wasn't easy to Sudan, and the few years that they all trying to come to Israel wasn't easy. A lot of people die on the way. But I think it's just like the dream is to be in Israel. So this is what inspired them, and this is what they always had in their mind.
Wow. How's that? Is that water boiling yet?
Yes. So with 1 minute, we're gonna add the salt, 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1.5 turmeric. Okay, the turmeric is really important because all the flavor and the color. Then we're gonna add the cabbage, stir it a little bit, wait about a few minutes, I would say 5 to 10, but it depends about the heat. So stir it for a second. And then we're gonna add the potatoes and some water, and it's going to be ready.
Are the potatoes cooked already? Or you put them raw?
So I'm gonna put, just a second. I'm gonna put the potato in a few minutes. Add some water to cover the potatoes, like to cover the potatoes with water, and then it's about 25-30 minutes until it will be cooked, like really ready. But here the stove is very different from Israel, so it's much quicker. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's electric, but it's cooking quite fast, so we'll be all right.
Okay. So, gosh, I have so many questions for you now. Also, if anybody else has questions, feel free. You can message me your questions in the chat box, and we'll have question time at the end. So if you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat. You can type them generally, or you can type them to me. So your parents have this amazing story of having this desire to go to Israel and to be in Israel. And you're here in Manchester. So how did you make that choice, and why did you choose to come to serve the Jewish community of Manchester?
I choose to come because I really want to feel like to experience. I said that, like, to experience like different angle of Jewish, like to learn more and maybe to tell my story about how to be Jewish in Israel, about my family story. It was in the beginning, it was really an easy choice. But then when I started to understand that I'm going to be far from my family, it was quite difficult for me to understand, but I found it. Like, I found how I think I would be all right. My parents didn't approve it, I would say, in the beginning, because I remember my mom told me, like, why do you want to go? Why do you want to leave Israel? We've been suffering so many years to come here, and you just want to go. And if it's going to be good for you and you're going to love the place, you're probably going to stay there. So I explained to her that this is a temporary work, like it's for 2-3 years, and I'm going to back to Israel, and it's to advocate about Israel and talk about Israel with the Jewish community. So she should be proud. And she, after, even when I explained to her and my sister and my whole family, she didn't understand, and my father was not, like, really didn't understand. So what did I did? I called to our rabbi, our case, and then I told them, okay, listen, I'm going to do work with the Jewish agency. I need you to come to speak with my parents and explain to them what I'm going to do and how it's good work and good job, and it's really important. It's really like they should be proud. And then he came to the house and explained to them. And then my mom said, like, okay, you can go. Okay, now that everything is clear, that you're coming back and you come visit and we can come visit, and you're doing such a wonderful job in such a wonderful organization, you can go. So yeah, so right now I think she's very proud. And then every time I call her to help with the recipe and explain about Hadasid and stuff like that, she's getting excited because it's like I keep the connection, and she see the effort I put in this job. So 1 minute, I'm gonna add the potatoes, and then we're gonna cover it with water. So we add the oil, onion, and then carrot, and then we put the spice, the cabbage, and now we put the potatoes, and then we cover it in water. Feel free to ask questions about the recipe, and make sure that after that we're gonna cover it. It's going to be cooking 20 to up to 30 minutes. Stir it every 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And if you need to add more salt, more pepper, more turmeric, you can add as much as you want. It's up to you, and there is no really mistake here. So it's really easy recipe.
Wow, looks delicious. And how's the bread coming?
I think the bread is ready. Okay, it's just okay. So the bread recipe is same. It's really easy. Just a second, I'll show you. You just take the flour, put the dry which is salt, a little bit of sugar, dry yeast, and mix it. Add water. Pay attention to make water I put 1 glass, maybe 2. It depends of the amount of the flour. Then I cook it in a different way. My like some people will cook it in. They will put in the pot baking paper and just cook it. I'm cooking with cabbage leaf, which is different. I will show you. As you can see, this is the bread. Okay, so this is the cabbage leaf. I'm gonna peel it. Yeah, yes, it's make the bread really moisty and just like crunchy from the outside, and then from the inside it's very like time. I don't know how to say. It's really good.
Tasty.
It's really tasty. Just a second. It's quite hot. Um, uh, uh,
So you put the cabbage leaves inside the saucepan
If this is the pot, I would just put the cabbage here
on the sides.
on the side and under, and then I will put the dough inside and make it rise the second time. And then I will just like cook it on the oven, on the stove. You can cook it on the oven or for 40 to up to 45 minutes, 200 degrees, or just as I do it, like 35 minutes on the stove. And after the top is it's hard, I will just turn the double. I will take it out from the top and then turn it around. So this is how it will look in the end.
Wow.
Yes.
Would you cover it with a lid when it's on the stove top? Like would you put a lid on the pot? Would you put like a cover on top of the pot when it's on the stove top?
No. What I do, okay, so let's do it slowly, Sydney. I'll take the pot, okay? I'm taking the cabbage leaf. They're roasted, but I would take the cabbage leaf and then I put on the bottom, okay? You can put on the side too, like that. I will put it in the bottom. And then what I do, I just take the dough and put it inside the pot.
Okay.
I will close it, wait, make it rise once again, and then cook it for 35 minutes. After 35 minutes, the top is going to be, see, it's like hard, like it's crusty. So I will take it out, flip it, like turn it over, and then make it another 35 minutes. So that will happen that it's going to be cooked from all over the side, from the bottom and from the top.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
We have a question from Anita. Does cabbage grow in Ethiopia? And also, do you soften the cabbage before you put it in?
Do I salt it?
Soften. Like, do you make it soft before you put it in the pot, or you just put it in plain?
Just wash it and make it. And yeah, cabbage grew up in Ethiopia, from what I know. I think my mom, she told me that before they used with banana leaf, like they used to take banana leaf. So in Israel, she do it with the cabbage. So I hope there is cabbage in Ethiopia.
So this is a really good point. So you were speaking about your parents, how they came to Israel and it was so meaningful for them. What was that? Are there things that they really miss about Ethiopia, and are they things that they speak of?
I think what they will miss the most is that there is no rush in Ethiopia, especially in the village. You like live simple life. You make your own food, you make your own world. So I think maybe they will miss that, because in Israel it's everything about like rush, and it's a modern word, so it's like rush and stuff on. And in Ethiopia you didn't have that, so it's quite an easy, like really easy life, like in the easy, like no rush. My mom, like my father went to Ethiopia a few times. I don't know why. I think maybe miss it. So we just maybe want to see the country and where how is the house and that everything that we had. My mom always says she will go to Ethiopia, but I don't think she will ever go. I don't think she will go. She's too spoiled right now to go to Ethiopia. Um, I was thinking to go to Ethiopia just to see where my family was, how it's been for them to be there, but it's not like something that urgent to me to go. I will go in some point in my life.
You've not been yourself?
No, never.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you want to go to see?
Maybe just like to see how it is, how they like where they take a bath, how it was for them, maybe like to see the country and the mountain they always talk about and the rivers just to see, but it's not like something that's urgent for me to go. Like it's not like I will go in some point in my life.
Wow. It must be such a different experience for you to think about how you were raised. You were raised in Herzliya, right?
In Netanya.
Netanya, very close. In Netanya, like how you were raised, and even how your siblings who were born in Ethiopia, how they were raised, and how your parents, like.
Yes, my mom would say, if we were in Ethiopia, you already married with 4 children. So it's like, it's different. It's quite different. I have things that they don't have, like cell phone and TV in the house. Water in the city, like we have water in a pipe. They didn't have it. So it's, for me, it's obvious that I have it. For them, it's something that I don't think they ever imagined, like this is how Israel. So it's quite different, but yeah.
And then when they came to Israel, like what was difficult for them? Like how did they adapt to this new?
I think the language, because it's hard to learn a new language when you are 40 or 30 something. My brothers, it was more easy for them because they were children. I think maybe the costume that they used to do, like when they cook, the Ethiopian will cook outside. You will set the fire. Here you have everything in the house. You can do it in the house. You don't have to go outside to do things. And I think there is a lot of funny things that, like, it's funny for me to, like, when you hear it, it's just like how you didn't have a toilet, you didn't have water in a pipe, you didn't have a lift, they didn't have stairs. I don't think they ever see a building. It was a village, so it was. I think there was a lot of things that was very difficult for them to understand, but during the years they try to adapt as much as they can for the situation. I would think maybe for my brothers and one sister, it would be more easy because they were children.
Yeah. Wow. We have a few questions that I think fit in nicely. So maybe we'll go to some questions now. Sharon, you have a question. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask? Where's Sharon?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you want to ask us your question?
Yeah, I want to know, are all your family now in Israel, your parents' brothers and sisters, if they had any, all in Israel now?
Yes, all my family. Nobody stayed in Ethiopia. No, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, all of them came to Israel. My grandpa, and my grandmother died on the way to Israel. So yeah, I never had the chance to meet them. But most of the family came to Israel.
And do you all live in different places in Israel, or are you all together?
Yes. My mom's side, all our cousins live in Netanya. I don't know why. My father's side is Rosh Ain, Ramle, Petah Tikva, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I have family all over the country because Ethiopians have a big families.
Sure. All of Ethiopia is your family. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Pamela, you have a question?
Hi. What language do they actually speak in Ethiopia?
My parents speak Amharic, but there in Ethiopia 72 language.
Wow. And do you speak any of the languages, or do you understand it?
I understand Amharic, and I speak like basic Amharic. I can't really write or read, but I'm trying to use it as much as I can, because if I'm not going to use it, I will not know, and
You'll lose it, yeah.
I want to pass it to my children in the future, or I don't know.
So do your parents, are they able to speak in Hebrew, or they speak English, or?
No, my parents don't speak English at all. They speak Amharic, and they think they can speak in Hebrew, but they're not good enough, but they are fine.
Okay. Is there a large Ethiopian community where your parents live? Do they tend to stick together?
Yes, they do. I think maybe it's something from Ethiopia that you have all your families and all your friends really close to you as much as you can. And I think, yeah, so in Israel, there is a lot of city where will be a lot Ethiopian will live together to make it more easy for them.
Okay, it's very interesting. Thank you.
Welcome.
I have a question about that. So when you were growing up in Netanya, like how much of your social circle was of Ethiopian descent?
When I was a child, not that much. We had like maybe 3 families in the building that was Ethiopian. In school and kindergarten, it was like half and half. It was mixed. Just as I turned out to be like teenager, I found myself my circle is more Ethiopian, because this is what you have. Like I have few friends that are not Ethiopian. When I grow up, it's really changed. When I went to the army, when I went to college, so it changed. But I think it's just more easy because they live next door. So yeah. That was a good question.
How is our stew coming? Is it boiled?
Yes, it's very boiled. I think maybe less 5 minutes, something like that.
Carol had a question about the stew. Should it become quite dry, or should it have a liquid sauce?
It depends. I like it a little bit with a sauce, because I don't like it dry. But most of the Ethiopian will make dinner without many sauce. It's now will be dry because the potato will be like mushy, and the cabbage will be very, very mushy. But it depends how you like it. As I said, there is no right recipe. You can twist it as you want.
Wow. And you would eat it, you said, with rice?
I'm eating, sometimes rice. I really like it to eat it with rice. With pita, you just like stuff everything inside and you eat it with pita. With injera, which I don't really have right now until I found a place that I can buy the flour and make it. Or with the dabo. I will eat it with the dabo.
Can you tell us what injera is for people who don't know?
Injera is, I would say bread, but it's not really bread. It's like more like lafa.
Like a flat bread.
Like
with a fold, right?
Yeah, flat bread and brown. It's like superfood. It's very healthy. It takes time to make it. So it's really like, it's a little bit of sour. So this is why you have like flavor in your sauce. Like you have to have flavor, because if you eat it only the injera, it will be sour.
Do you know which grain it is in the flour? You said it's a special flour.
Teff. It's called teff flour.
Teff flour. Is that the English name or the Ethiopian?
No, this is the name. But they don't really grow up in here. I think Adele has something to say.
Yeah, when Joanna used to, when she did the Barbat program, she got this flower specially, teff.
Yeah.
Did you never see it, Joanna?
Adele, that's a really good point. I don't know if people know so much, but we have this Israeli bar bat mitzvah program that we run at UJA in Glasgow. And so we have people coming every year, a group of young P7 children who are about to celebrate their bar and bat mitzvahs. And we have this twinning program. So they write to they're twins in Israel who are of Ethiopian descent, and they learn all about Ethiopian Jewish culture. And they make this teff flour injera bread, which is really fascinating.
Yeah. So I had a question as well for you. Do they ever add meat or chicken to the vegetable stew, or just have it vegetarian?
I don't, because I do it in a different stew. But I think you can add meat. I would say I think that you can add meat. I don't think there is going to be a problem. Maybe it just will take time to cook it because meat need more time. But I don't add. I just do it separately.
Vegetarian. Okay. Okay. I have a friend who's Roman Catholic, and she lives here in Glasgow, and she started a medical program with her cousin in Ethiopia. It's called Ethiopian Medical Project, I think. It's now a registered charity, and they set up a clinic. I want to say it's near Lalibela.
Lalibela.
I think it's near there because that's a big Roman Catholic area.
Lalibela, yeah.
There are nuns, the nuns are there, and they set up this special centre mainly for women who'd had terrible births and everything had fallen. So they were helping these women, and then they discovered people whose feet have swollen. They don't wear shoes and dirt gets in and their feet become massive. So now they teach them how to scrub their feet and keep their feet clean and always keep their feet covered. And people from here are sending out socks and shoes to help them. And they come from miles and miles and miles and miles to get treatment. But this charity has been, this year she got a special award. I think it was Scots Woman of the Year or something. But it's been running for 10, 15 years. And I mean, it's just amazing the work they're doing. And people are just so grateful. I get angry because I don't like to say, but I think the Ethiopian government probably have money that they're not spreading around, and the people are suffering. So I'm very pleased your parents did make it to Israel. I'm sorry your grandparents didn't, but at least they tried, and that you've grown up there and you're happy there. And obviously very secure in your Judaism and how you feel about your religion. And we're very pleased to have you here. Hope you'll come up to Glasgow when we get out of this lockdown.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing. It's lovely.
Does anyone else has a question that they want to ask? You can feel free to pop up your hand. And any other questions that we want?
Yeah, I want to taste it.
Michelle, is that a hand? I can't tell. Or you're just waving your hand.
We
Sorry.
Want to taste it. We want to taste it. You need to make it for it.
When I come to Glasgow, I will make you one.
How is the stew looking? Can you show us what it looks like inside?
Yes, and it's quite ready.
Ooh, tasty.
Yay. As you can see, this is the stew. You see it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have like more sauce because I like it really with sauce. But it depends how you like it. If you like it like a little bit dry, you can just don't put a lot of water, and that's it.
Amazing. Pateavon, enjoy your tasty, tasty dinner. Anita wrote a really interesting point, Ethiopian Chulent, which is a great segue into a quick little ad for our coming programs. Next week, we're back here. I'm going to be speaking about my time in India. I spent 2 years in India, and I'm going to share some Indian recipes. And the following week, Karin, who is our shlicha in Leeds, is going to be sharing about her Moroccan and Iraqi and Romanian heritage. And one of her recipes that she's included is Iraqi cholent. So very exciting programs. Sarah, thank you so much for sharing with us. Your story, every time I hear it, is just like so fascinating. And for the food, can you show us one more time the delicious bread and the delicious stew?
Yes, so this is the stew. Like, next time I will send it to you, or should I come and then we can all cook together? And this is the bread.
Wow, amazing.
Thank you for having me.